We have in our studio today Yaseer Abdullahi. He's a young educationist, entrepreneur, and has a company by named the Pendustry. Uh, this may sound, you know, new to Nigerians. And what do you mean? Why did you decide to choose this name itself?
Okay. Hello, my name is Yaseer Abdullahi. Thank you for having me. The pen industry, the name came from a combination of two words, pen and industry. So this just means that it's a platform for people to write a path to their future. So that's just where the name, that's just what the name stands for. And then aside from the name, we have tried our best also to try to involve young people today. That's mostly children who need the most guidance. That is because most adults know what they want, and some adults also don't know what they want because they were not guided when they were children. So where we come in is we meet children basically in the primary school grade, and then teach them how to harness their talents. Some people are talented, some people are skilled, but then they don't know where their strengths and weaknesses lie. So we have them in a small program where we balance and compare their school performances with what they do with us, and then eventually we determine what they could do if they want to, or what they could not do, basically because it's not good for them. So they get to make all the mistakes they would have made in university while they're children, and they save their money, their parents' money from school fees, and it's just a nice affair to have when they're young.
What gave you this initiative to start with? Because this kind of initiative is probably found in most of these developed countries, and some people will see it as a good initiative. And in Nigerian context, what give you that you know good zeal to start with in that direction?
Okay, so from what I gather, but most people that start businesses, they don't look at where they're from. They just look at an international business and think, okay, that works in America. It will definitely work in Nigeria. So definitely, the American market, you can see that they already encourage creativity at a young age. When you apply that to Nigeria, we don't. At a young age, you're told to obey and do what the teacher says, or else you fail in school. And then that's all you're conditioned to do. You're afraid of failing. You're afraid to ask what if because you'd be wrong to ask what if. So that's where the problem came from initially. And then I'll just take you back to the inception of the company. We were just a company for writers mostly because I myself am a published author. And then when I wanted to publish my third book, I realized that it's very difficult to actually publish when you're not backed by traditional publishers. So if you're to publish self or by yourself, you have to spend so much money. And let's be honest, you're a student fresh out of graduated, a fresh graduate, you can't afford to spend that much money on books that you're not guaranteed you'd sell. So we began to run contests online to see to attract more writers towards the platform we're trying to build, so that when we do that, we can begin to have like a platform where writers can come and have access to people who can design their covers for them, people who can edit for them, just a heaven basically, or a haven for the writer itself. Then we got overloaded basically. We didn't know that we got the attention of a lot of people. We didn't realize that, and then it caused our website to crash actually. So eventually we sat down and began to redraw the plan. Instead of just sticking to writers, why not go around for the entire creative party in Nigeria? Because there are a lot of creative people here. You can walk around, you see random paintings on the streets. People are hawking paintings. Even are being hawked here because of how good creatives are in the country. So we now thought, okay, these guys are old and they're doing this now. They're clearly not making as much money as they would have if they had known that they could have done this from much younger. So it's almost as if it's their last option and they're probably forcing themselves to depend on that. So we now thought, why not just make it normal and teach them from when they're younger? So it's as if you know, okay, I have this strength in my pocket. I want to study something else. And then you finish that thing that you want to study and then you come back to work and there's no job availability. You now remember when you were younger, you could do this all along. You even made small money from it because it's become part of you. You continue because you know what you were doing before. You continue. So that's what we are. That's what we're trying to do, and that's the main problem here. Children don't know what they want, whether they want to be science students or art students, and from the courses we're going to give them, we guide them to finalize if they should be in the art sector or the science sector, and then from there the parents can carry on. They can choose to give them courses to enroll into Or in JS3, they know now I want to be a scientist or I want to be an artist. They know already from JS3, which I had a problem in JS3. I didn't know what I wanted to be. I thought I was going to be a doctor. I thought I would be an engineer. So many things. I changed a lot of things when I was in secondary school.
How many children are you able to initiate into these particular programs now that you are pursuing them? And when has the program came to be?
Okay, so far because this direction we're having, this current harnessing of creativity is new, but the contest we've done before, we've gotten over like 50 participants for each contest, and then most of them were children, 14-year-olds, between 20, 20 and below, most of them, and they were the highest point. They got the highest points even, so to make it even more interesting. So that's why we thought now this time we would go younger, but because children can be they can be a lot to work with sometimes, and we're new, so we don't want to overwhelm ourselves too, because our curriculum is new. We don't want to overdo things and then end up giving up because of the lack of progress. So we hope to for our first batch to get at least under 20 students, maybe 12 students for starting for our first batch by next month, inshallah. That's what we're intending to have. So we want to have like a holiday batch and then an ongoing semester batch. So the ongoing semester batch will span for like 12 weeks, and then we can have the kids with us every Saturday after they finished everything they've done in school. Because we're teaching them as though they're playing, they look forward to every Saturday to have fun, not to go and work. So that's how we now have the access to compare when they think they're having fun compared to when they think they're working, and then we see how we can align it and then find their strengths and their weaknesses due to the activity we'll be giving them. So
How do you go about it? Are you going to meet with their parents or with their school teachers and the venue for that particular program? How do you intend to go about it?
okay, because originally we're a competition to the schools already as we're doing this, so we don't concern ourselves with schools. We just walk up to the parents wherever we meet them. It could be someone in the supermarket buying Indomie. You just greet the person. We're doing this and we've done this before. If you're interested, go for it, because definitely you too, you want the kid to have the direction as soon as possible. You don't want to waste money for education that the kid will want to change. Of course, maybe if they are 4 years into the university, the final year, they break down. They don't want to do this course, don't start again. So we have saved you that whole thing from when they're younger. So the parents are everywhere. The parents are everywhere. It's not even a difficult thing.
How many children are in your custody for now so far?
Now we have three. We have three guarantees. So we're just waiting for nine more to start. But it won't be difficult because we this is the holiday period. So it's going to be till next year, January, early January, before we can finalize everything. So now we're working on the behind the scenes, the staffing, the school, because we're going to put them in a school that we're partnering with. So we have to find all this during the holiday first. Then once January reaches, it's very easy to get the nine more because we're trying to use people that we know. We're using aunts, friends, best friends. So definitely that's the easiest way to start. Then eventually we can begin to sell the idea to people that we don't know, because now we have a portfolio to show them, to convince them that this actually works for other people.
You school in Malaysia, apart from schooling in Nigeria here before proceeding to Malaysia. How do you compare a kind of curriculum and the educational background that you want to pursue outside compared to that of Nigeria?
So for me, even though I schooled in Malaysia, I schooled in an I schooled in an Australian university. So it was a more hectic curriculum, because as I would reference, one of my teachers said there was a course within materials and processing. It was split into just two arms, but he was telling us that that course could be split into a whole course on its own. But like they forced everything down for us in one, in two bits, and we learned everything at the same time. So there are good things out there, but then there are also bad things out there as well. Because some people take time to absorb knowledge. Not everyone thinks as we don't all think the same. Some people are slow, and you have to accept it. You have to take time to teach them. So personally, I understand that the teachers out there, they have the time to. If you have the time to go meet them with your complaint, they have the time to answer you and then make sure you're prepared. But for Nigeria here, I can tell from my friends' stories regarding school here that the teachers, most of them, some of them even threaten them. They have handouts: if you don't buy, you fail. All these things. So I really think the structure comes from how the school is organized, in the sense of delivering the this thing the exchange the knowledge to the student. Outside, you'd have a structure. You don't even need to learn everything at once. They just pick what you need to learn. Maybe higher civil engineering. The first year, you all engineers have the same thing, which is just the background. The second year, you start seeing you're moving towards, like I'm a mechanical engineer now, so you start moving towards the engineering part that you're actually focused on all the way to the end. While if you look at your friends, your colleagues, they're going a different path because that's where they're meant to be. But here you find people that are studying IT and they're doing biology, they're doing geography. It doesn't make sense to me. So I just feel like if we don't need to learn those things, don't make us learn them. Let us learn something that is useful or scrap it and reduce the hours. Just because we don't need to finish school in 5 years if I can finish in 2 years. So because people have time is money basically. If I'm wasting all of my time in school trying to understand, trying to learn things I don't need to learn, then why should I waste my time? I can just go and start doing business.
Okay, yes, what advice will you give to parents that for them to know the strength and the capability of their child right from day one in order to build on it?
Communication. A lot of parents don't speak to their children a lot. So I just feel like you need to start playing with the kids more, or else they would learn what they need to learn outside your house. So communication, watch your kids, study them, have family time. You can notice some certain traits in your child. Like for me, my mom noticed that I was a writer from when I was younger because I'd have toys around and I would just like this table and I would put them here. This guy's having a different voice. I'll have someone having a girl voice. They're all playing and I didn't know I was just having fun. I have a car. I used to make a city, but now you see, I now moved to writing scenes. Now I can write books. I know how to do the character bit. I know how to just complete a book now. So I just feel like parents should communicate more with their parents and with the children. If they can communicate with the children, then they wouldn't have a problem first. Then allow them to also express themselves. Because if kids can't express themselves, you have robots at home. You have unhappy children, and an unhappy child definitely you don't want a child unhappy basically overall. So I just feel like parents communicate, allow them to express themselves, give them opportunities, guide them as well, let them fail. Don't make everything perfect. Let them fail small, then guide them. If you can't guide them, bring in an external party, which is where we come in now to help you guide them towards where you need to. And also you can learn from us from what we're doing, then you can learn how to communicate with the child. That's just it.
I learned that you also learn how to cook. What gives you that impression as a man? Because in Africa, if you say somebody a man is good in cooking and stuff like that, it sounds strange to people.
Yeah, it will sound strange. It's always sounded strange for me in both positive and negative narratives. So basically, when I was younger, I've been my mom's pet ever since. I still am. So, like she would tell me to add one Maggi or two in the soup, and then I'll go do the same thing. And because I used to like the taste, so I would rush to go put so I can taste it after I finish. And then eventually, she would say, "Oh, okay, just stay 5 minutes. You know, if it's cooked, turn it off. Call me to serve it." Eventually, it's like just serve it when you finish. Eventually he has to cook for us, and then yeah, and then that's it. So I traveled to school, I started to cook more, and then I realized I could cook much more than just Nigerian dishes. So when I came back home, I started a YouTube channel. I started cooking different things from around the world, having guests to discuss more about dishes, and I started selling food. Yeah, I realized why not make more money with what you can do. If you have a skill, a talent, monetize it. Don't let it just be there.
What about the response from your followers from the YouTube?
The YouTube
Cooking this thing?
because it's new, but I've been getting positive, positive reviews. People have been asking for particular things they want to see on the show as well. So it's still new, but then again, with the whole schedule they're seeing now, I don't have much time for that yet. But when I do have it, I'll go back and continue.
Thank you so much, Yaseer Abdullahi, for being us with Voice of Nigeria.
Welcome.
We appreciate.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah.